Good evening. When Pastor Paul got a hold of me to ask about doing a Lenten evening reflection, I was really excited about the task of giving up expectations. It fits so well with some of my story and testimony. I do want to read you this little snapshot from our website before we go into it about our readings today. Abraham followed God's call to leave his homeland and travel to the place God promised his descendants, even though he didn't know how it would all work out. And when Nicodemus is talking to Jesus, he has a hard time understanding what God's grace is really about, because he's used to thinking in terms of religious structure. Sometimes we just can't know what's going on or what's coming next. God doesn't guarantee any future circumstances or uninterrupted prosperity, but we can trust that God will be with us through whatever circumstances we face, and that God will work with us to make the best result out of even the most hopeless places. So I knew what I was going to share this evening. I didn't even write it down, so if I go wandering, bear with me, because it's some of my own story. God has done some incredible things in my life that totally, radically changed my expectations of where God would show up and what God would do with me. And it is good. It began when I went to college in a place of brokenness. Going to the conventional church had harmed me and my family. And I really didn't want anything to do with Christianity. I was pretty mad and taking some religion classes and learning about all of the heartbreaking things that Christians had done in the world and in history. And kind of building up steam, I started to study religion from sort of a secular point of view, and then decided to study all of these world religions, which led me to study abroad in India. I was studying the world religions in India, and there was Buddhism and Sikhism and Hinduism and a tiny 2% of Christians who lived there. And I went to read and hear what people had to say about God, not knowing what to think, but going out searching. So this journey was very unsettling. It wasn't very comfortable, not only because I only brought a backpack for 2 months, but also because I forgot a blanket and wool socks, and everything is marble floors and freezing cold in the Himalayan mountains, okay? So I don't recommend that. And it was a really uncomfortable journey. People who would follow after you and say, "Mama, feed me." Or people who were in the street and you could see those lines on their faces from being out in the sun in a way that would never happen to me or my loved ones. And also just the discomfort of travel that disrupts all the things that you think you know, both maybe in your digestive system and also in your mind. As you're traveling from one place to another, things begin to shift in your soul and your heart too. And my least favorite place that we went was this city that was the headwaters of the river Ganges. You might have heard of it before. And without consulting my mom, I got a message from her after I went. I went and bathed in the Ganges River with some of my friends. Now, if you know anything about this river in Varanasi, it's a place where bodies are cremated and garbage is dumped. And this is all drank back into the body. And it's a very sacred and holy place for people who are Hindu, but it's also the dirtiest river in the world. So, thankfully I didn't check my Facebook because I get a message from my mom, "Allie, don't go in the river. You're going to die. You'll never have babies." All this kind of stuff. I went in the river. It's fine. So here I go in this place that's not supposed to be Christian, not supposed to be safe, supposed to be dirty, in this place where I'm going to get away from the conventional, not expecting Jesus to find me. And who happened to be with me but a Lutheran pastor? And she took my hand and said, "I'd love to come into the river with you. I said, that's great. And as we went and bathed in the river and we went underwater and we came back up, we recognized a moment of affirmation of baptism. We made the sign of the cross on one another's head and prayed the Lord's Prayer and had this incredible Trinitarian moment in the middle of the Ganges River, the sturdy water swimming around our knees. And God came bursting into my life. Now, this is a transformative, unexpected experience in a transformative, unexpected place. God was not going to take me walking away for an answer. It was going to come after me through all these channels where I thought, no, you couldn't possibly do that, God. Were exactly the places where God was coming to find me and bring me home. Because India, like most interreligious dialogue, when you're studying with people who believe things different than you, it draws out what you believe. And I began to realize I was quite a bit more Christian and Lutheran than I thought I was, and I wanted to learn more. So I began to study religion again along with interfaith dialogue, putting together these groups that met on campus and talked about faith, where students from other faith traditions would come and sit with me and say, well, what do you believe? Clearly you believe in something. And I would say, I don't know. And I would meet with my professors and pastors, and they would say, Allie, study the Word. You will not come up empty-handed. And so I went to seminary. And now this young woman who was harmed by the conventional, who wanted nothing to do with Jesus, is now proclaiming the name of Jesus Christ as the salvation of the world. Tomorrow I find out which synod I'm going to be living in and serving in with my husband as a first call pastor. And God has burst into and shown up in these unexpected places in my life and transformed me. And as a witness, I can tell you, God will do this for you too. There is no place God is afraid of entering. There is no place for God that is too far away. There's no place that is dirty or unsettling or frightening or far when it comes to the God that created you and knows you intimately and will do anything to win you back. You belong to God, and thanks be to that God who will work through the unexpected, which may not be so unexpected to God, to bring you home and to proclaim that home to all you encounter. Thanks be to God.
Amen.